just go straight down that terrier till you get almost to the woods. There's a subdivision called Oak Ridge.
Yes. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. So that's like after you wrap around, like you said, you
Yeah. Yeah. Could you hear what I said? Because I think we got muted, I think.
see, let's unmute.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me as well?
Yeah, because I think we got muted a little bit. But I
Yeah.
was saying I bought that house back there in Oak Ridge in 2000, and after Hurricane Katrina, I sold it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I used to love that subdivision because it was so quiet at the time. It was only a 2-street subdivision, but they have built up since
Oh,
then.
it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot, but it's still quiet. It's still quiet, which is nice.
It
Yeah.
reminded me of the country where I grew up at. That's
It
why I moved
does.
there.
It does. It does. Except for the occasional visit, of the raccoons and
Yeah. Well,
snakes and
they got that going on in New Sarpy and Destrehan as well.
yeah.
Hello, everybody. We're about to get started in like 30 seconds. I just wanted to say, hey, that
Hey,
we're all on. So I'm just going to do some housekeeping items real quick, and then I will get started.
Okie dokie. What's the matter, Mimi?
Okay, so welcome you guys to July 1st edition of Ask the Experts. I am super excited to be here with two Desirees. So I am going to tell you guys all about that in a minute. That is actually one of my slides, so I'm not going to jump ahead of myself. If you look to the screen, you can see that you'll be able to follow along with us. So I'm just going to give a few quick announcements, and then we're going to get it started. This podcast is being recorded, and it is being streamed live via YouTube. So let me make sure that it's being recorded. Make sure. So if you don't want to be recorded and broadcast on YouTube, just kindly exit the meeting. Consider this as this is your notice, and you are consenting to us to share your likeness or your words or your questions on our public channel. If you're not in agreement with that, we love you still. You can exit out and watch the replay. The replay will be posted on our website, and it will also be posted on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. I am asking everybody to go like, subscribe, comment to our YouTube channel. It is tied to our nonprofit organization, the AK Legacy Foundation. And so once we get to 1,000 followers, we will be able to monetize some of the things that YouTube offers, and all the funds and all the proceeds will go back into the charity. So we're asking everybody to like, share, and we want, I don't know what the word, Ms. Desiree may know the word, we want authentic followers. I don't want to pay for followers. I want you to follow me because you want to follow us. And so go to our, we don't have a Facebook page because the AK Legacy is going to eventually be ran by youth as far as the media center, and they don't like Facebook. They say that's for the old folks. So we have an Instagram for the AK Legacy Foundation. So go and like and follow us there as well. So on Instagram and on YouTube. And we're doing that for the youth. Everything that we collect for the AK Legacy Foundation through social media will go into the youth fund. Now at our foundation, we cater to, matter of fact, let me go to the next slide and I'll come back to this one. In our foundation, we cater to children, women, men, Black, white, orange, green, whatever the case may be. And we just have it sectioned off. So go and visit the website. We have a section just for children, youth ages 7 through 17, some things that we're doing for them in our upcoming events. And then we also have what's called the Women in Business. With the Women in Business, it's all about women that are in business. Even if they're a homemaker, they're taking care of the business of the home. So you don't necessarily have to have a brick and mortar or even be an entrepreneur. You just need to be a female that's breathing, and then you can join. So yay. And our MED program, that is open to anyone, male or female, that is in business. And that is our training platform where we offer financial literacy and business development. Now, so the purpose of the podcast, Ask the Experts, I'm going to get into that. On this podcast, we bring information to the community that normally may not would receive this information. Our experts are usually those that are already movers and shakers and doing things in the earth. They are busy and they are so kind and gracious to take an hour or so out of their life to bless us with their time. And so we truly appreciate that, because we know that people are busy and they have things to do. But the purpose of it is for them to come and share the information with us, and then for us to be able to bring awareness to our foundation and the purpose of it. So we'll talk a little bit more about what we do and who we serve and how we can help you. And we're even soliciting your volunteer effort as well as donations. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. I say this every week. If you've been watching, this is like my favorite thing to do. I don't give my panelists a prep talk. We don't tell them what we're gonna talk about. They are totally clueless. And I'm beginning to think I get a kick out of that. So, you know, this is going to be interesting. So to my panelists, I hope you love me and don't take me off the Christmas list when this is all over. You all do have control, so you're able to unmute yourself, mute yourself, share your screen. If you go to share the screen, if you would like to, just let me know so that I can stop sharing my screen so that you can share your screen. But you all have full range. And we'll go ahead and get started. I believe I have taken care of all the housekeeping. I want to make sure that we are viewing. You guys let me know. Do you see everybody or just me? Desiree,
I just see you and Desiree.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
same.
good. I want to put it on speaker view because we are streaming. And I don't mind, like a lot of times people say, you got to have all that housekeeping stuff before you get on. Look, I am new to this. I've been using Zoom for about 5 years, and but I'm new to sharing the platform. So I'm excited that during this time of pandemic that my clients were forced to use technology. I've been asking you guys, hey, embrace technology. And I'm like,
Yeah.
now everybody is Zooming. Zoom has now become a verb. And so, yeah.
Big time.
All right, so I think I got it figured out. Yay, there we go. All right, so now we're on what's called speaker view. So I'm gonna dive right in. We're gonna go ahead. I'm not gonna give them any chance to back out, and we're gonna just get on with it. All right. So put it back here. All right, so our first, or the way I normally do it, Desiree, because guys, some people may not be familiar with our platform. I'll ask the question first off the bat before we even introduce you guys. Don't worry, I'm going to give you a formal introduction. But before I do that, I'm going to ask you a random question that you have no knowledge of. All right. Okay. So we are going to skip down to our mystery question. Yay! All right. So Desiree Jung, pick a number between 1 and 10, and this is going to be your mystery question.
Oh boy! Oh, look at I love the graphics, the visuals. Okay, I will choose number 6.
All right. This is going to be fun. You know, we got to make it exciting. Okay, so we got number 6.
Yes.
So, yay, here's her question. It says, how does being a female affect your business success?
Oh man, how much time do we have again for this?
You know, less than a minute. This is being recorded, so hey.
No, it's all good. Wow. In this exact moment, at the time we are recording this, man, being a female definitely has pros and cons. How it has impacted me as far as being in business, I love the camaraderie that other female business owners, I've been very privileged in that way to connect and attract women that have been for me, that have supported me, and vice versa. I know that there's other things that can go on in female circles. For me, it has definitely been really positive. And that has been awesome. But there's another side to this that I've realized sometimes I've not gotten the work, sometimes I've not gotten invited to the table because of that same fact, right? Because I was the female. And it's hard. It's a hard pill to swallow because I always thought, if I did everything and like Michelle Obama mentioned in her book, check the boxes, I could get invited, I could get hired, I could be liked. And sometimes, unfortunately, that's just not the case. And so it's been a mixed bag of pro and con. But I would have to say, as the overall piece, is that I'm grateful. I mean, I still know and believe that women are smarter. I do believe we work harder. I do believe that, and statistically, it's proven when it comes to us getting funding, we actually tend to utilize that more so for the causes that matter. That being children, that being education, that being strengthening the economy. We tend to pay back loans at a higher rate than men. And so for all those reasons, it has had a positive impact, I believe, on my life as a whole, despite all the other pieces.
Wow, yes. I like that. I'm going to watch that again. I like what she said. We are smarter.
We are. No offense to the men, though.
Yeah,
we love y'all.
No offense. We love you guys. We love the men in our life. So,
Yes.
But that's why they with us, because they know we're smarter. But anyway.
It's all good. We can coexist.
All right, Desiree Morrison, it's your time to pick a number that you can't pick number 6, but any number besides number 6.
I'll take 4.
4. All right. Is that because you have 4 kids?
Yeah.
I figured that. A little known fact. All right. Okay, so number 4. Whew, it's so fitting. How do you manage your personal and business life while still having personal time for family?
Oh, see that number was for me.
Yes.
What I do is I realized early in my entrepreneur years that it was a mandate that I put myself on a schedule, because it's so easy to start doing something, in your business, and then here comes this child with a question, or here comes the grandchild with a question, or stuff from the children, bombarding you. So my kids and the parents of my grandkids know that Mama is going to be doing business and working on her business from this time to that time. And we're not going to call Mama. We're not going to go knock on Mama's door. If Mama's door is shut, we're going to leave Mama alone, because we don't want Mama to turn into Master Mama. So putting myself on a schedule and having a balance like that helped me, because before I put myself on a schedule, I was just all over the place. I started doing something with my business, whether it was working on a project or networking with someone or making contacts or follow up. And then my mind would wander off into another place. And then I'd find myself tracking that rabbit. And then I'd find my thoughts going another route. And then so I had to put myself on a schedule to keep me on track. And as I did that, I found out that I got a lot accomplished. I was more productive. And a lot of people don't realize it, but when you are an entrepreneur and you start working for yourself, you no longer have that structured time frame that you used to have when you would get your schedule from your boss. Now you have become the boss. So nobody's going to call you and say, okay, look, from Monday to Friday, we're going to need you to be here from 8 to 4. You know, you have to make that schedule for yourself. You have to decide how many hours of the day you want to work, how many days you want to work. What are you going to do on each day? That now becomes your responsibility, and that's work. So I think that we as women, as mothers, as grandmothers, as wives, and all the other hats that we wear, I think um we tackle that in a broader sense than what we're given credit for, because a lot of people don't realize what being an entrepreneur and a woman entrepreneur is really all about. But like I said in the beginning, I believe that because I put myself on a schedule, and I'm not saying I follow that schedule all the time, because sometimes I'm not doing nothing today, and I don't. But that's the perks of being an entrepreneur and having that balance when putting yourself on a schedule and sticking to it, and monitoring your time. That what works for me.
Well, thank you. And I want the guys to know, all the guys that are listening, this is not just a women's broadcast. It just so happens to be women today. You know, it's our
Right.
Women's Day. And speaking of what kind of day it is, let me get to this slide. Y'all are so nervous. Relax. I'm not gonna do y'all nothing.
Yeah.
So today at the AK Legacy, we are going to declare every July 1st, it's going to be National Desiree Day.
Yes.
How about that?
Yes.
So let me tell you
I love
why today is National Desiree Day, okay?
I love it.
I've been in business for 21 years now. I believe 21 years now. And I've done a lot of great things, made some money, lost some money, quit, started, I've done it all. And one thing always remained the same. Relationships have always been the backbone of my business. So I always felt that just being myself, treating people kind. I try to. I know I can't make everybody happy, but in my journey, I have always valued relationships. If being raised as an only child, I was very friendly because I was like, finally another person that I could talk to. So I kind of took that on, and I would always gravitate to like-minded people that want to do more. It got to be more to it than this, and so that's been my mindset. So I met Desiree. Even though we were going to the same church, I don't think I actually met her at church. I don't really remember how. Desiree Morrison is who I'm speaking of. I don't really know how we met, but I remember her coming. I don't remember our initial meeting, put it like that. But I remember her coming to my office, and I was going to do some taxes for her or whatever. And she told me about her business, and I was like, yeah, okay. And then I just, we just kept running into each other, and things just kind of gravitated. We started doing business together, and we just, became best buddies. And one evening she said, I want to introduce you to someone. And she introduced me to Pastor Darren, and then, the rest is history. And my business has taken a leap, an increase since she came into my life. And I always honor people. I do have the skill set. I've got degrees. I got about 3 or 4 degrees. I'm very intelligent. Both of my parents are entrepreneurs, but I still not going to take all the credit. I believe God divinely orchestrated me and Desiree Morrison meeting.
Yeah.
So long story short, through all that, she got so busy traveling the world, she didn't have time for certain things, And so she called me. She said, look, I just got this email, and I know it's last minute, but I'm going to send it to you because I don't have time, because I got to do this and blah, 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 blah. She's traveling. She's a real traveler. So anyway, she sends me this email, and it was about the Louisiana Scale Initiative. And I was busy too. I just wasn't traveling. But I was like, well, I have time, and I filled it out. It sounded like a really good program. I was like, okay. And I said, well, Lord, if it's meant for me to get it, because I started feeling anxious because it sounded so good. And I was like, I want to be a part of that. And I said, well, I'm not going to get anxious. I said, Lord, if it's for me, my application will get approved. True enough, a few days later, I got an email from a lady named Classy. And in that, as the Lord would have it, it was 30-something business owners, and each of us had a mentor. So each mentor had about 5 or 6 people that they were assigned to in the class. And Desiree Jung happened to be my mentor. And so I remember telling her, hey, I met you through somebody named Desiree, and I told her the whole story about how I got the email at the last minute, and all that, how Desiree do it to you. She gave me the email at the last minute. But anyway, I got in, and from there, I've ran into Desiree Jung at a few events, and I tell you, she has always been, when you read people's resumes, you be like, woof, I don't know, but she didn't act like that. She was down to earth, welcoming. We were at an event, I won't call the name of it. She even made me move my seat so I can have a better view. She was like, no, come up here. So I really appreciate that. So I met Desiree Jung through Desiree Morrison, and just so happened their schedule was for July 1st to be on the podcast. And I said, okay, today is National Desiree Day. So at the AK Legacy, I'll do something formal. I see a couple of the board members on here. We're going to make July 1st National Desiree Day at the AK Legacy Foundation because of both of these ladies. Through Desiree Jung, I have met another lady that incorporated our foundation into a charity. And so everything just kind of circled around, and to have both of you here today, I'm very honored. And so go back and watch the recording because that's probably going to be the nicest I'm going to be the rest of today. No, I truly love you guys. And thank you for taking the time to be on here. So we're going to get back into, that was a bit of a sidebar, which I don't do often. I usually just kind of stick to the program. But hey, I just had to say that, give accolades and applaud. The Bible says, give honor when honor is due. And so I'm just giving the honor to these ladies. And so they're both powerful in their own right. They do have different backgrounds, but they have the same mission, and that is to help others. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. So any questions, panelists, before I dive in? Okay. All right. Put the seatbelt on. No more mystery questions, okay? Mm-hmm. All right. So I'm going to pull up, let's see if it lets me. I'm going to pull up Desiree. And so y'all just have to bear with me because both of y'all names are Desiree. So when you see your name and picture, I'm talking to you. All right. So I am going to pull up Desiree Morrison about her page so that you guys can follow along with me. This is on her website. And so I want you guys to go and follow them, whether they're on social media, visit their website, and subscribe and like and view. All right, so Desiree Morrison has a very interesting story. It was definitely the grace of God. I can't tell her testimony, but her testimony is just a testimony to me that she's even here sane in her right mind. She was wrongfully convicted and sentenced and served time. She served 6 years wrongfully. Later it was deemed, it was all wrongful, but how can you redeem that? But she did. So we're gonna go, I'm gonna read, kind of skim through to my own version of their bio. She was convicted and sentenced to serve 6 years of hard labor for a crime that she did not do. And so through that, she has taken that situation and she has turned it around, and she has taken that temporary, she called it a temporary setback. I'm like, temporary setback, I don't know. That was a nice way of putting it. But anyway, she's making a major comeback. And I'm telling you, this is, if you're a sucker for comeback stories, this is it. This is awesome. And so I'm going to let her tell us a little bit about, she's going to give us a brief story of how she went from that to where she is now and being successful in business. And so I'll come back and ask a few more questions. So if you can give us a short snippet of how you went from being wrongfully convicted and serving 6 years away from your 4 children that you just told us about, and being a successful businesswoman you are today.
Okay, you're right, Kitty. That's right. A lot of people, when they hear about my story and how it all went down in the beginning, it's sad. It's gonna make you sad. It's gonna make you angry because of the injustice that went on. But as you continue to read my story, because of course I had to put it in the book, the Lord told me I had to write this because people needed to know exactly how all of this took place and how the Lord was in it from the beginning, even when I thought that he had abandoned me. I really did, because I couldn't understand why would you allow a jury to find me guilty when you knew, if nobody else knew, you knew I didn't do that. And I know you know how to move on people's hearts. You know how to move on people's mind to allow them to see the truth. But you chose not to do that. And see, that was the thing that threw me off. But even in the midst of that, when the Lord did reveal to me that it was him behind it all, and it was only because of some words that I had voiced, I think maybe a year or so prior to that particular incident, the Lord took me up on my words. I've always been a person that when I get myself into desperate situations, I always talk to the Lord, and I say desperate words, you know. And I was in a situation, and I told the Lord that I knew that I did not have the power to get out of this relationship that I was in and stay out. I wanted to get out. But what a lot of women don't realize is a lot of times when we get ourselves into relationships that we really don't have any business in, when you stay in a relationship that you have no business in, the enemy strips you of your strength. And you don't realize it at that time. You realize it in the end. And I'm saying that. And if anybody knows about the story of Samson and Delilah, Samson was good. He was a strong man, you know, but he had stayed in that situation, in that relationship with Delilah so long to where when she cut his hair, that was his strength. So his strength was gone, and he didn't realize it until it was time for him to use his strength. So when I realized where I was at with the Lord and what I really wanted to do was get out of it and stay out of it, I realized that I didn't have the strength. So I told the Lord that day, I say, if you get me out of this, and this is desperate words, y'all. I said, if you get me out of this, help me to get out of this and help me to stay out of this, because I can get out. I just can't stay out. And I knew I couldn't. I wasn't going to, fudge it. I will go anywhere you want me to go and I'll do anything you want me to do. That was a broad statement, but that's what I said. Not knowing that a year later, when Hurricane Katrina hit, that I was going to find myself in a situation where I was going to be arrested wrongfully. And then during the course of going back and forth to court at home, because I had a subpoena, I go back and forth to court. Then when my court day came, the charges were changed. I'm facing a conviction that was crazy because I didn't do that. But the law was working. And in the process of all of that going on, when I went to prison, he met me there. He worked in the authority officials' minds to whereas things that the people had been there couldn't do, I was doing. I had so much favor. And a lot of people, when they hear my story and they think about Joseph, well, a lot of people call me Josephine, because of the things that happened to me and the favor. And then when I was there, the Lord started showing me that you need to listen to this person. You need to listen to that person. And he allowed me to hear stories from all kinds of women from all different kinds of background, ethnic backgrounds, financial backgrounds, economic backgrounds, educational backgrounds. And I started to have a burden for these women, and I wanted to help them. And I didn't know that that was in me. And I realized while I was in prison that the Lord allowed me to go to prison to call me into prison ministry, because he gave me a burden for those women. So when I came out and I started to get back into the workforce and everything, the Lord allowed it, but then he cut it off. And when he cut it off, I couldn't understand it because I'm like, I need a job. I got kids. I got, I need to make money. And the Lord started to show me, I'm going to teach you how to put systems in place. And that same system that was designed to destroy you, that same system that was designed to make you lose your mind, I'm going to show you how you can make that system pay you. So when those other women that you left behind start coming home and they face situations where they're putting all their eggs in one basket because they're dependent on that one job, I'm going to show you how you can take the same system that I've given you and teach it to them. So therefore, they won't have to worry about that job failing them because, oh, all of a sudden now the background check has come back. And now you found out that this person is a felon, so we can't keep you. So then they go back to square one and find themselves in dire straits, and they go do something that caused them to get back in the system. No, I'm going to teach you how you can prevent that from happening. So when these women come home, they can not only survive, but they can strive.
And amen to that. Let the church say amen. Look, taking entrepreneurship is just what you just said. It's like the school of learning on hands-on learning.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have 2 or 3 degrees or whatever, but 90% of what I do in my business is from trial and error. The things I learned what not to do. And so like Desiree mentioned, she said she took that situation and she learned a system through that process. And she is now able to monetize. She's able to have her financial freedom. We know she has her time freedom because she's always traveling. And so even during the pandemic, she's traveling. So she's traveling. So we know that situation was designed to break her. But as a true entrepreneur, she took that and she learned from her. Not to say that it wasn't easy for her. I know it wasn't easy for her. Her book, tell us the name of your book, Desiree.
The name of my book is Saved, Broken, Called. Okay. Because that's exactly what happened to me. The Lord saved me in 1990, and he broke me while I was in prison in 2006, and he called me into prison ministry while I was serving those 6 years in St. Gabriel.
All right, so we definitely, we're problem solvers. And I learned early on in business, I can talk to people about their finances. You need to do this, you need to do that. This is your budget, do this, do this, do that. But it comes off as a put down until I can say, I lost everything. I lost the house, I did this, and this is how I got back on track. You not only give real life solution through your system, but you also give empathy, you give hope. And I don't know about anybody else. Yes, we're in business to make money. Yes, truly, that's what we're in business to do. But along the way, it just feels so much better when you're able to care about those that you serve and care about your clients and care about your customers, even the ones that you make mad. You know, we're not going to make everybody happy, but our ultimate goal is to serve the people that patronize our business. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So I want you guys to, we're going to continue. So I want you guys to go to her website. When we get off the podcast, go and follow, read up on it, get into some of the things that she's doing. She's doing some great work in the community. She's with a foundation that helps change laws that have to deal with people being wrongfully convicted, male and female. But like she said, her calling is to the women primarily, but she's here to serve the community as a whole. And she's going to talk to us a little bit more about her business and her business systems and how she was able to prevail. So we definitely want to, and thank you for sharing your story with us. So
you're welcome.
All right. All right. So it's now Miss Desiree Jung time. Yay! All right. So I'm gonna go ahead. We're gonna go to our next slide. All right. So Miss Desiree Jung, y'all, when I entered that classroom and one of the presenters, you know, I hope they're not watching. I was like, okay, I'm gonna stay woke. But then when she came, we weren't gonna call, look, anybody that's on here, don't even want to try to figure it out. But anyway, Desiree was like, she was full of energy and she just was, you know, just that smile. And I said, how can she be nice with a resume like that? So let's figure it out. You know, typically people that have those, you know, that have all those things, they tend to forget. And you didn't forget. So we're gonna, I'm gonna kind of skim over hers a little bit because I want you guys to go to her website, read about her, find out more, get connected. So, all right, so Desiree Jung is the founder of Venture Walk, which is a business partnership. And so I'm gonna read from the screen. She has an MBA. She's a Chief Market and Business Developer. This is her official bio. I thought it was the neatest thing that you had an official and an unofficial bio.
Right.
Desiree, and you should tell us about that. Desiree has an MBA and she's the founder and CEO of Venture Walk Partners LLC, a New Orleans-based small business company and entrepreneur development company. She is a hometown girl, New Orleans. Yay! So both of the Desirees are hometown to New Orleans too. So
Yeah.
hey, this is just a full circle.
It's a full circle.
She brings 20 years of experience into project management, marketing strategy, and business development in a small business and entrepreneur community. Desiree holds a BS in mechanical engineering from Boston University. So I'm going to stop right there. She is an engineer, and she said, you know what? I got this MBA degree and I do all this because I heard your story, you told your story. And she was like, you know what? It got to be more to it than this. So I'm not against education. I'm big on kids going to college. I have a son that's currently in college. I have a daughter that went to college. So I'm all for college. But both of my children also have their own business. So I'm probably a little biased. I'm more toward them excelling in their business versus their college career. But because that's the way that they're geared. There are some people that go to college, they excel, they get their career, they are fulfilled, they are living their best life. We want our doctors and lawyers to love their job, but there are some that are in these positions and they're not happy. And it's not because it's a bad job. I mean, she got an MBA from Boston University. I was like, oh, that sounds really fancy. Like she put in some work to get there. I'm sure they didn't just hand it to her, and some finances to do that. And so, Desiree, tell us a little bit about, because we do have career people on that are doing well in their careers and they're going to stay in their careers, and so God speak to them. But speak to those that are in careers and they want to change, or they want to take that leap. Talk to us about how you journeyed from being an engineer to where you are now.
Oh, that's a great question. For me, just like you mentioned, Candy, it was certainly being a Black girl, growing up. And because I enjoyed math and science, that it was kind of this automatic of, oh, then you must go into, and fill in the blank. And admittedly, like most people, I had no idea what engineering was, what it did. All I knew was that you could make a lot of money. And of course, my parents were like, okay, whatever that is, that sounds good. You know how it is. There's this sense of you don't follow passion, but you follow profit. And it made sense because, I come from a very humble family, where the idea of going to college was a big deal. The idea of coming out of college with a good job was an even bigger deal. And so to your point, I had the opportunity to get to know what it really was like from internships. So the truth is, I knew I didn't like it. That's the hard part. I knew, I had interned with Shell. Specifically, I was working in their pipeline division. It was a part of En-ROADS, an incredible program that was for minorities in business and engineering. I knew right away this was not exciting. It was not fun. And I thought maybe I just needed to have more time in it. I just thought maybe if I keep going, I'll learn to like it. We know that doesn't work with jobs. It doesn't work with men. It doesn't work, right? So I think a lot of it was, part of it was strangely making sure that my parents, that their money was spent well. I wanted to stay in it. And honestly, I had a high school counselor who basically told me that going away to college would not work. She said I would be back, that I wouldn't make it. And so there was just all sorts of head trash going on to just finish and to work in it. And so to your point, getting into it, unfortunately, I knew right away I was not excited, but I wanted to find out then, Lord, why is it that I'm in this, right? I believed it was him guiding the whole process. And so I just wanted to be a good steward. I wanted to be a good steward of the degree. I wanted to be a good steward of all those years of putting in time. And after interning with Shell, I wound up working in the chemical industry, which was not much better than the oil industry. You talk about being a female and the impact. And you add on to that being a Black female, and it was interesting. And I'm using that word very nicely. And I think a lot of it for me was trying to really get a good sense of what I did enjoy. Even in the jobs we don't like, we could start to kind of segment out the duties or the skills or the roles or the pieces of it we like. It's so easy to just focus on the part we hate and what we dislike, but there's usually still in everything, there is some string, there's some stream of what we enjoy or specifically what we're good at. And I was fortunate to have some really great mentors as an engineer that helped me to know what I was good at, what I excelled at, and they helped to expose me to opportunities even as an engineer. And so in that role, I got a chance to take on both volunteer opportunities. I got to ask for a particular position that at the time did not exist, but I was able to pitch this new position that would pretty much put me in human resources, where I was training first-time engineers, especially those that were in supervisory roles. And so I got a chance to still play in the engineering space, but also in the training space and the development space, and loved it. And what's interesting is that role still exists to this day. I mean, I had to work really hard to get it to come to fruition and to get it created, but it still exists back at that company, which is really interesting. And so you asked me about the advice I'd give, first and foremost, to really assess what you are good at, and that's not an easy thing because we come from different backgrounds where we're not taught always what we're good at or what we're passionate about. We're taught, again, how do you get security, job security, family security? And the truth is there are some priorities that take over for real right reasons, that we have to give attention to. But I do believe at some point we have to come to the point where we understand our identity. And our identity is absolutely made up of who it is that we are, which includes how we think, how we act, and honestly, how we make decisions and choices. And for each of us, that is part of our unique DNA. And connecting with that is really what allows us to get a good sense of now, how does that play out in the world? So how does it play out with the job choices I have? How does it play out with the hobbies I take on, with the people that I kind of enable myself to be around? And so I encourage people first and foremost to learn about what they're good at, what they enjoy, and to look for opportunities to do that. Because truthfully, your job may or may not change, but you may be able to supplement what you're doing with a side business. You could supplement what you're doing with a hobby. Or again, if you're fortunate and can get the right help, you can, of course, now move into that area as your full career. The second thing is getting mentors and getting people that have either been there before or who are really willing to help you. And you got to identify people who have nothing to lose and nothing to gain, because that kind of takes out of it them trying to manipulate and get you to do things that only benefits them. Honestly, I started a little bit later than I should have relative to getting quality mentors and people in my life. But at the point I did, it's really when I started to see the shift of being able to do unique things, because they speak on your behalf, they speak into your life, and they can either model what to do or help to guide you to do that. So those are the two main things. And if I had to say a third, and this is obviously not in the right order, I do believe that God must be invited into the process. When I talk about identity, which actually is what I do in my work now, although it's not painted as such, God really is, his being the creator, he knows what his creation is meant for. And I just believe that he can guide those steps. He is most often waiting for us to want to collaborate with him. He is the perfect gentleman in a sense that he will not overstep and override. He waits to be invited. And for me, much of even this path, I kind of got him invited and more involved a little bit later in life. But you know what? It's better late than never, and he redeems the time. And so those are the things I would certainly say for those people who are certainly recognizing if there's something more, there's something different, there probably is. But those are just a few steps I would encourage people to take.
Yes, and let the church say amen, amen again. I just need to pass the collection plate around. Yeah.
Absolutely. You better get you a collection plate.
Look, that is so true. It is never too late. It is never too late to start something new. It is never too late to invite God in. It's never too late to accept his invitation. So definitely, and in every area of our life, a lot of times, even in business, my husband used, we've been married now 30 years. My husband used to be, I used to come home and say, babe, I got this, I went to this meeting and I'm just going 100 miles an hour. And being the perfect person that he is to me, he just said, okay, baby, so what we doing this week? What's, it got to the point to where he was like, Lord, this woman gonna come in here with a new idea and that's gonna cost me more money. And I know that's what his mind was thinking. And he would just let me do, everything. And everything that I've learned over the years, I have implemented it into my business today. Now, some of the things have been consistent, like the taxes and the credit. I've consistently been doing that for the last 20 years. But there are other things. I'm now into travel. There's all sorts of other things that I'm doing, and I'm adding it to my businesses because, like you said, we have in our mind, this is what we're supposed to do. It sounds like a good deal. It's going to make me some money. But what am I passionate about? What I love to do isn't always the thing that you wind up doing. You go to college to do this, you go to college to do that. And it is so great that you said that you created your own position there at the company. And so that was your way of being creative. And God is a creator. So he has given you the ability to create. And so as entrepreneurs, that's what we do. We fix problems. We fix solutions. We find things that aren't working right. And we say, you know what? This would be better if we did such, this or that. And generally it does. And so sometimes that takes trial and error. That takes going to college for 8 years, or it might take us, going and starting this business, starting whether it's Mary Kay, Avon. And there's going to be some things that you're going to find this is not for me. And when you find that, don't feel bad about it. It's not time wasted. It's a lesson learned somewhere in the madness. So I thank you for sharing that, because just to think, an engineer, now entrepreneur, you're inspiring others, teaching others how to develop their business. That is just so amazing. So you're still creating. And, engineers, they tend to put things together or figure things out, but you're still doing it. So I know that you're using some of those skill sets that you learned and you're implementing them in your business. And so we're going to go to our next slide. I know y'all are excited to see what's next. So what I'm going to do next. So, all right. So I'm going to go back just for a second. I want to make sure before we get into the next slide. And if you guys can hear the noise in the background, please forgive me. It is HOA Lawn Day. I had to go talk to them and tell them Wednesdays at 11, y'all can't be cutting the grass, Y'all got a real range of schedule. They speak it, But anyway, I want to talk about the foundation. The website is up on the screen. Here at the AK Legacy Foundation, like I told you guys earlier, we are working with our local communities, and what we do, we also partner with other charities as well. So make sure that you visit the website, check out the work that we're doing, see where you can plug in, whether if you need our services or if you have services to offer, if you would like to give a donation, or anything that's on there. I'm sure there's something on there for everyone. And you do not have to be in business to utilize our services. If you want financial literacy, to learn how to properly buy a house, how to buy a car, what are interest rates, what is APR, any of that stuff, if whether you're a business owner or not, we can help you with that, either directly or indirectly by sharing some information with you from one of our reputable referees. So I just kind of wanted to mention that. All right, so Desiree Morrison, this question is for you. These were some of the questions that I had people to send in. So this is one of the questions. It says, recently released from prison, how can I find work?
Well, one of the systems that I put in place for women coming home that need some right now money is I show them how they can get with over 100 mystery shop companies. A lot of people don't even realize how valuable mystery shoppers are. A lot of people have the wrong concept of what a mystery shopper is. So one of the programs that I have talks about what is a mystery shopper, what a mystery shopper does, how a mystery shopper works, how a mystery shopper gets paid. That's right now money. even though I am contracted right now with over 100 mystery shop companies, of course, I don't utilize all of those companies. I pick the type of mystery shop companies that I like. My top 3 mystery shop companies, the main one that I love deals with gas stations: Chevron, Exxon, Shell, Valero. Another one deals with Just Winn-Dixie's. Another one deals with Just Walmart's. Everybody's familiar with those names. So I show them how to set up their account. And of course, you are an independent contractor. So therefore, you don't have nobody to answer to. You set your account up. I teach them how to go on each company's job board, see what's available. Trust me, there's a lot of stuff available. Pick whatever it is that you think you want to do and just keep your commitment. Make sure you do it. When you finish, you're going to go back to that company's website. You're going to input the information of what they're asking you about. And within 2 weeks to 30 days or 28 days, depending on what company and how they pay, you can expect a paycheck through PayPal or to your bank account. Really simple. Really simple. And that's Right Now Money. That's the most popular program that I have right now for women coming home from prison, because those women need right now money. That's just one. I have others. One is the travel business. A lot of people, when I say the travel business, they have the wrong concept. They think that you have to be involved with getting people to join you in travel so you can get paid. Wrong. No, I got involved in the travel business because, number one, I like to travel. Number two, I don't want to pay full price if I don't have to. Just because I got it don't mean I want to give it away. So the travel business to me is just like a Costco or a Sam's membership. Sam's and Costco don't care if you come to their store once a year or once a month. But whenever you go, the benefits, perks, and discounts are available for you. That's what the travel business is about. Whenever you decide to travel, I don't care if it's a rental car, I don't care if it's a hotel, motel, resort, it doesn't matter. A cruise, an excursion, it doesn't matter. Anything that relates to travel, you have the opportunity to, number one, not deal with anybody on a 1-800 number. You go directly to the BDMs, which is the business development managers, the people that's on the inside that can give you the hookup, and you not only get a good rate, but at the same time, whatever you're booking, 30 days later, you get the commission on whatever it is that you booked. You see what I'm saying? So to me, that was just a win-win situation. Now, the other business that I have is an online beauty supply store. I don't know about y'all, but I just got tired of going to these different beauty supply stores, giving my money to people that don't look like me, that take my money and they send it to another country. I wanted my money to stay in my community to help my community. And I have been talking to the Lord about that. And when the opportunity came for me to have an online beauty supply store, and the distribution site is right here in Atlanta, Georgia, not in China. Yes, that was like, bang, we got to do this. It was a free startup, because I believe that, yes, it takes money to make money, but not all the time everything needs money right then and there. So that's another one. Black people, Black women especially, we buy a lot of hair care products. We buy a lot of beauty products. You see what I'm saying? And I believe that if you can have your own beauty supply store and get your products delivered to you, I can show you how to set your account up. So therefore, if you want to set your account where you can buy your beauty supply products for yourself at wholesale instead of retail and make commission on that, that's a win-win situation, y'all. I'm just all about seeing how I can put systems in place that will not only help me, but also pay me at the same time. And you can do that with people who have beauty supply stores. They need product. So if you can get with somebody that has a shop, somebody that has a store, when they get ready to order, if they know that you have a distribution site, they can order their hair from you. They can order their grease or their stuff for their natural hair, whatever, braiding hair, wigs, all of that. They can order that from you. Have it delivered to them. You don't touch no product, no inventory. You're not housing anything, but you wake up to money. And that's what I'm all about. I'm not an extreme believer that you always have to be present to make money. I believe that at some point in your life, you should realize that you do not always have to trade hours for dollars. And putting systems in place is going to do that for you. Now, that's just 3. I have others, but I ain't going to take up all your time.
I like what you said, wake up to money. That's, that'll give you some good dreams at night, if you wake up to money, So, hey, that's a whole nother story. So, yeah. So it doesn't matter when you're an entrepreneur, you own your own business. And so it doesn't matter if you're recently released from prison or if you're changing jobs or you've been laid off. This gives you a platform to do what it is that you need to do. So this really eliminates all the excuses. So, yes, thank you for that. So our next question is for Desiree Jung. It says, I'm new to business. You probably get this a lot. How do I develop it?
Awesome. I have to say something first, though. Desiree, one of my, we all have our stories of how we got into entrepreneurship. And, you go through that time where you got to just make it happen until the money starts flowing in. I was a mystery shopper. Okay. So I could tell you that was one of my many hustles in the midst of everything. I sucked though as a mystery shopper because I felt so bad when I would have to return the product and I would tell the people and I was like, okay, I'm not doing real well. Like, but it was a great opportunity because it really showed me what those businesses were really looking for. And so I love that you developed so many of these things for people. I wish I would have seen and known about your program, and I probably would have been a much better mystery shopper. I just had to say that. So yes, so being new to business and thinking to develop it, man, it's interesting because the day we live in now with having so much access to the ability to market and get the word out is huge. And so I really do identify there are different phases of business. I love animals. I'm an animal lover. I usually identify things in terms of different kind of animal phases. I call kind of new business, early stage businesses, the rabbit phase. They're just hopping all over. There's not necessarily a direct path. They're just hopping around, which is 100% okay and real. And so when it comes to new business, the first thing is you got to just move product or the services. You got to, sales is the number one thing to really focus in on. And don't get me wrong, marketing should absolutely lead to sales. But I know sometimes in this day and age, people will get so bought into just building their social media, which can be great, but it doesn't always equal a sale. I love building Instagram. Absolutely. Build up the people that are following you. Absolutely. Put videos out. But yes, sales and marketing are different. And although marketing should lead to sales, there is the idea of let me get in front of these people by any means and let me ask for it. Let me get them to really want to exchange money for what it is I'm giving them. And so I call these folks the rabbit phasers, where sales is number one. And the truth is, it's not just selling to sell, but you're also watching and being aware of who's buying, of why they're buying, and of what you have to offer. Is this really the ideal product? Is it really ready for them? Is it, you're getting feedback and you're collecting feedback, and you get the information you need to know around further developing, going back to the drawing board. True story, when I first started in this whole arena of coaching, consulting, training entrepreneurs, I had gotten an intern to actually go forward with to kind of market research and talking with the clients I had worked with at the time. And admittedly, I thought, the little intern, she'd go and she had one-on-one interviews with all of these clients, these small businesses. I was kind of new on the scene in New Orleans. And I thought I would really just get these glaring testimonials, saying great stuff. Truth is, it wasn't all rosy. I got a chance to really get the truth, which is the plus of getting another person to ask, because sometimes people will not tell you the full truth. But I also got a chance to know how people saw me and what they saw about the work we were doing. I wanted to be seen as this, engineer turned entrepreneur. I mean, I wrote it in the bio, that's how I wanted to be viewed. I wanted them to say, oh my goodness, it was so much tactics and strategy, and Desiree is really like a business maven. Do you want to know what they came back with? They'd say things like, working with Desiree was like business therapy. It was like my being able to just kind of get all of my problems out. And I just feel like I got direction. I felt like that was soft and I didn't like it. I didn't want to be woo-woo. You know what I'm saying? But I had to learn, if this is what I'm giving off and this is what people are interested in relative to me, I could either get with the program and now start to market that, or I can keep attempting to kind of be something I wasn't, or market something that I wasn't. And so that process is what taught me how to now really develop and talk about what I did. And quite frankly, how to even identify what to offer people. So I had to really learn, yes, could I go through and develop email follow campaigns and help them with analytics and metrics all day long. But most of my clients are wanting, first and foremost, they want someone who hears them. They want someone who listens. And so I had to learn to develop offers that first fit what they wanted and then can morph into what they needed. And so that's the whole idea around being new to business, learning, first moving things, getting stuff out to people, getting them to buy it. And I mean, going beyond the friends, family, you know what I'm saying? Our friends, family, they all in till they got to spend some money most of the time. God bless them though. God bless them. I'm talking about the paying people who got to separate from some dollars, and then learning and listening and making sure that you're making adjustments. And that is what development is about. Development is a plan. Absolutely. It's programs like Candy, I know you've gone through, and so many here have gone through, and those things are important, but they do not take the place of the real life customer discovery, doing the work and paying attention and making adjustments in motion.
Yes. I wish I was like Simon on American Got Talent, had the little gold buzzer, the confetti. When she said going beyond friends and family, that's when the confetti should fall out the sky. Yes, it's fine to start with friends and family, but like you said, we got to do the work. It is. I think friends and family is our safe place, is our lazy place, because you already love me. So if you love me, support what I do. I mean, I'm your child, I'm your aunt, I'm your niece, hey. And that is easy, and I call it the cop out to marketing and sales. So yeah, just going beyond friends and family. Starting there is fine, but we got to do the work to go beyond. And I just love that about you because, as my mentor, business mentor, you were just that. I mean, she had, all this fancy stuff, but she sat there and just listened to me. She liked it. Like, okay, so now I'm whining and venting. Okay, now let's take what you said and put it on paper. And I'm like, well, that's going to be work. Now, I just want to sit here and talk. But I really appreciate that, so you heard me out. I didn't feel like I had to be, studious and just come in and be all, it was still professional, but you heard me first because the real problem was in what I was not saying. And so you were able to dig that out. And so look at where we are now. We're on our way. We're going to get there. We're going to be on MSNBC for it's over with.
Yes.
So anyway, so next to our our podcast, hey, beyond friends and family. This is one of the next slide is just to kind of tell you guys in September, we're going to be hosting a youth business summit. And so right now, that's what we're soliciting donations for. We're going to teach entrepreneurs we're going to teach young people how to be entrepreneurs at a young age. And so some of the mistakes or some of the successes that we've had, we're going to teach them in a practical way that's on their level. And we're going to inspire. And some of them are already some of the youth that are enrolled already in our YES program, they're already entrepreneurs. We have some that have makeup, a bakery. So they're already doing things. So we're hoping that through this venture that we're able to teach them, some money saving tactics and some things that'll help them in business. And so that's what we're gearing up for. So if you have a young person that's age 7 through 17, get them involved as well. All right. So I thank everyone. I thank all of our listening audience for staying tuned, staying on. So we got a couple more slides to get through, and so we're gonna just dive right in. So the next question is for Desiree Young. All right, so as you can see on the screen, it says case scenario. So one of the case scenarios we're gonna go through, and look, your opinion or your skill set is yours. We're not here to crucify you if we don't agree, so we are going to agree to disagree. So we're gonna give this case scenario to Desiree Young, and she's gonna tell us what she would do in this situation, and then we have a different one for Desiree Morrison. So, all right, the case scenario, a photography cancellation. There was a couple that was getting engaged and they were getting ready, and these are real life scenarios. I'm not going to disclose the people's names. As a business owner, when I see certain things, I just want to chime in. I'm like, you know what? That ain't even none of my business. So, but anyway, the photographer, the couple were engaged and they were getting ready to get married. Well, the fiance, she dies in a car crash. And this was all sad and everything. As I'm reading this, I'm thinking, this is going to be some, whatever. So the fiance calls the wedding photographer after the funeral. I guess he's trying to get some things together. And he said, it's a great regret that I have to cancel. My fiance died. And, he goes into this whole spiel. And so he had paid whatever the amount was. It was a large amount. From my understanding, it was, I want to say more than $2,000. And so he asked for his money back. Well, the photography company says, well, deposits are deposits and they're non-refundable. You signed the contract and it said that it was non-refundable. So from a consumer, I felt that it was wrong. But then from a business owner, I had to look at it both ways. And I had, take out my compassion and empathy, I would have said, the same thing. They said, hey, you signed the contract, it's non-refundable. There is no exclusion clause in here. The $2,000 is mine, and, go on with the life. Too bad she died. But the compassion side of me says, I would rather give you the $2,000 back or part of it, maybe kept 500, give you 15 back. That was beyond anybody's control. This wasn't a normal cancellation. This would be different if y'all just broke up and didn't want to be together. So what is your answer to this problem? I'm going to tell you guys what really happened. So what would be your answer to this?
Wow. So on the end of the photography business, right? What the business should do?
Ma'am?
Oh, I'm sorry. As far as what the business should do, correct? The photographer?
Oh, yes, as the business owner, business advice. Yes, not us driving by, burning the place down as a consumer.
Okay, got it.
Not as the Angela Bassett from Waiting to Exhale burn. We need the business, the professional answer.
Got it. So here's the deal. You were right. Obviously we have contracts, terms in place for a reason. But I don't care what anyone says. Business is personal. I'm not in the camp of it's just business. It's not. Business is personal because we do business with people. Okay. And absolutely, there needs to be what's in place. But here's the thing, as the business owner, you always have the right to change your own rules. That's why we get into business ownership. We make the rules. We can adjust as we see fit. And so this is certainly a case where, just like you mentioned, the idea of empathy and a human-to-human adjustment, I believe, is necessary. Now, I do believe how it's done could be a big piece of this. They could very well have said, the deposits are non-refundable, but we are now open to doing some level of service up to that amount. Maybe we help to memorialize, your fiance. Maybe we pull together all of the pictures, all of the footage you have, and we're now going to put together something so that you can keep, her life alive and her memory alive. I would have first and foremost looked at some congruent type of service that went beyond this call of duty in the efforts of being able to maintain the money, right? That's the first thing, because everything is also about a conversation. And maybe they would have been really open to that, the idea of being able to create something that would have been incredible and long lasting. And I think the value of that would have been beyond the $2,000. If that person would have been adamant about not even being interested, then yes, this is where you make concessions and you say, I'm sorry, we couldn't, do anything at this time. We don't normally do this, but we will in this case because we care about you, because this is bigger than a transaction. This is about a relationship. And you think about what that person could go on and maybe later want to hire the photography firm, maybe later want to tell other people. So we cannot ever think of business again as just a transaction. It is personal, but we also cannot just think of it as this snapshot of time, because there's later, there are other people. And with social media in play, we know that one person's voice can have a magnitude of effect. So I would have mentioned, yes, this business owner needs to make concessions in this time. They first should have looked at perhaps attempting to give some level of service for the value. And then if they weren't open to that, then yes, refunding the money.
Well, I am going to tell you how this story ended. What happened, that's great advice. That would be the advice that's what I would implement in my business. I totally agree with you. Not just offering the money right off the bat, because they may actually want another service. They just hadn't thought of that, especially in a situation like that. But this photography company refused, didn't even consider it. They basically said, hey, you signed the contract, we got the money, go on with your life. It's pretty much how it went. Well, the guy, I guess he would have letting it go, but the family was like, no, that's not right. And so, like you said, it got personal. People started saying, how can they be so insensitive? They weren't considering that it was a business that had light, gas, and water to pay. They were saying, how could they be so insensitive? And so it got to the point to where the company went on the review that the client put on there that said, hey, this company refused to give me my money. I'm just seeking any help or whatever, blah, blah, blah. This company made I don't know if it was a Facebook page or a YouTube video. They did something of the sort, a social media, let's put it like this. They did a social media page, and they put on, the title of it is, I hope this is the worst day ever for you. That was the title of it. And they put all the pictures that, I guess, how they have the pictures you take at like the engagement pictures or whatever. They had some of that stuff. And they made a video collage, and they said, and they just put it on social media. But the title of it was, I hope this is the worst day ever for you. And they put a write-up, and the write-up they were putting was, because you keep harassing us for your money back, that it was a contract. Here's your product. And they put this video together without his permission, without the permission of the family, and they put it on social media, and it has went viral, and it has, I don't even remember the name of it, but I couldn't believe it. I was like, I know they didn't go on social media and do this. So it's, needless to say, the company has now had to change the address, not address, but the phone number and things like that. They've been getting harassment. So yeah, epic fail of what not to do. I thought it was very insensitive. It's going to cost them more than $2,000 to regain after this point. Now, I'm not saying give everybody a refund, because some people have you do all the work and then they just don't want to pay. That's not what we're speaking to. We're speaking to this particular case here. And like you said, business is always personal. So yes, thank you for that answer. So
sure.
Next slide. All right, Desiree, your case scenario. This is Desiree Morrison, and I know you're familiar with this because you're in the travel industry. But in this case, this was a case of a caterer and a bride, a bride to be. They ordered all this stuff, and they wanted a diamond wedding, but they only had a dime, so. And so they wanted the caterer to provide all these services and all this grandeur without paying for it. So how do you deal with people that have budget issues, but they want the best of the best that you have, but don't want to pay for it?
Well, Candy, that's kind of tough for me right now, because I don't book travel for nobody. And the reason why I don't is because when I first started out in the travel business, I started out functioning as a travel agent. Within my first 9 months of that, I was turned off, because This is what people do. They do what you're saying. That's one thing. They want to live like a millionaire, but they're a fifthionaire. You know,
That's a new one.
They want all this high quality type, arrangements, but they want you to put all this stuff together that's going to cost thousands of dollars, but they only want to pay you 200. And that's no. In another sense, they ask you to look for something for them, and you do. Then they come back a day later and they're like, okay, well, let's change this and put this in. And then you do. And then they come back a couple of days later, well, let's change this and put that. That's work. And I'm not getting paid for that. I can't come on your job and ask you to do something for me and you're not getting paid. That's work. So that turned me off in that aspect of the travel business as far as functioning as a travel agent. So I stopped. And I said, you know what? I'm not doing this. This is too much work. Chasing this rabbit, chasing that rabbit. Now you want to change this. Now you want, no, look, I'll teach you how to do it. You can do your own research. You can, I can hook you up with the BDMs and whatever, you do that yourself. But in the beginning, when I've dealt with stuff that like you're talking about, I just basically, because I'm a no nonsense person. I don't have time for the, well, let's see. And I know it's not gonna work. I'm gonna tell you straight up, it's not reasonable. Your expectations are unreasonable. If you want to scale down on some things, let's do that. Now I'll give you certain realistic goals to meet with your finances based on your budget. And I guarantee you, based on your budget, we can find something that's probably going to meet your needs. And it's not going to take all of the money that you set out to spend in your budget, because I know how to do that. But people that contact me with unrealistic goals, I don't have time for it. I don't waste my time. I don't even go searching for nothing. I let them know that you're not going to go to Disneyland or Disney World with 5 people, stay on a resort for 5 days, 6 nights for $500.
Not at Disney.
Yeah, now I've had people to, give me some crazy stories like that. I want to go to Disneyland. It's going to be me, my husband, and our 3 children, and we want to stay on a resort, and we want park tickets as well, and my budget is $500. I said, no, you need to go to SeaWorld, and you need to drive. And I can hook you up with some tickets.
Y'all, look, I have been on a budget, and I have traveled with $100, and I have traveled with $1,000. So this is not to put anybody down. This is to say, look, like she said, be realistic. Go to that vendor and say, look, I have $500. I have this many people. What can you do? And only select somebody that is going to do it to a spirit of excellence. And so that's my consumer advice. If I have I tell somebody, look, I have $500. Don't go over $500. What can you do with that? And if I don't like what they can do with that, then you know what? That means I need to do it myself. Thank you, and keep it moving. So just because we are women, just because we're Black, just because we're 5'2", or or whatever the case may be, does not give you the right to want to take what we've worked for and want to give us what you think we deserve. If you can't afford it, I understand. I've been there. I've been in situations where I wasn't even able to pay attention. So I got it. I know that. So this is not your time to come for this service. I do have something else. You can't, I'm gonna have to move on from that, because I got hot. Because I have had people, I have gone to people and say, look, I can't afford it. And I just told them the truth. I can't afford it. So if I can tell somebody that I can't afford something, so can you. See, I cannot afford it. See, nothing happened to me. I didn't die. You just can't afford it. just pretend like your kids. You know how they come to you and ask you for all this crazy stuff, and you looking at them like, where the money gonna come from? It's the same thing. Where the money gonna come from? All right, so Desiree Jung, yay! You knew this question was coming.
Ooh.
And this is not a question because we're African Americans, or we Black, or we're dark skinned, whatever way we identify with ourselves.
Yeah.
This is not that question. This is a serious question. This is for a serious time. In our country. As I was jogging this morning, I saw a lady putting out an American flag, and I said, "Well, we celebrated Juneteenth, and I didn't see any flag, Juneteenth flag." I said, "But if I don't put the 4th of July flag, an American flag, they'll say I'm not being patriotic." And that's not true. I have an American flag that I'm going to put up because I'm glad to be in America. I don't know if I could live in Haiti. I don't know if I could live in a third world country. So I'm glad to be in the US of A. But at the same time, if I'm not patriotic, if I don't put out a American flag, or you not patriotic because you didn't put out a Juneteenth flag, I don't know. Okay, that's another subject for another day. This is not that podcast. Of course, I love white Americans. My descendants are white. Some of my descendants are white. I'd be crazy not to like white people because that's part of who I am. And no, I don't have that one white best friend. That's not the case. I'm actually mixed somewhere in there. So I don't believe in division. I believe in unity. And so that's just my take on it, my sidebar, my own personal opinion, my own personal view. But I do believe in business, that everyone should be treated fairly. And I do business according to the work, not according to the color of a person's skin. I have white clients that I love, and I have some that have been with me since I started, which been with me over 20 years. And I have some Black clients that are just as great. And I have some Caucasian and some African American clients that when their number pop up, I'm like, oh my God, I got to start breathing. So color is not a factor in how I do business. Now, in personal life, it's not a factor in how I treat anyone because I'm a Christian first. I love God first. And he says he loves everybody. So he loves me and I love them. And so that's my stance on racism, but I'm not ignorant. I know that it exists. I have suffered through it. My family has. We've all, in my family, every one of us can say we've been a victim of racism of one way or another, and I don't like it. But that is not to say that I don't like you just because you're another color. I just don't like racism, just no more than I don't like a lot of other things. I don't like domestic violence. I don't like drinking and driving. So there are things I don't like, and racism is on that list. So I remember I called you about this question, and so that's part of the reason why it's on here. So yay for me, I get to pick my questions. It's my show. And so, so should my business, anyone that's on here, should my business issue a Black Lives Matter statement?
Oh man. So here's my position.
Because we've been getting them. We've been getting them. Some companies, when they put it out, we believed it, but some of them sent us the email. I was like, where you been all this time? So
I agree. Real talk, the short answer is yes. Yes. Here's the deal. Something has shifted. We are in the era of responsibility. And so to stay silent is to be complicit. And so there is now a shift of not saying anything. And as you just mentioned, wondering where do you stand? Because at this point, we are taking notice. And let's be clear, this is not just white-owned companies. This is not just white brands. We all know what's hit in essence over the last 24 hours of us doing this taping and recording. Everyone is going to be tested based upon what you're doing and what you are saying. And so we cannot kind of take this position. And I know it's difficult because a part of it is why I need to say anything. You need to say something because you can. Number one. The issue, though, comes into what it is that your statement has, because we all know that there have been many a statement that was written by a PR firm and unfortunately did not necessarily match the real culture that was going on inside of the company or the brand. So it was just a communication. It was not about culture. And so we should not put out a statement if it is not going to really be the truth, again, it's about responsibility and transparency. If it's not going to be the truth about what's happening. So it is 100% okay to say, wow, we're still figuring this out. But here's the commitment. Here's what we're looking to do. Because real talk, we're just not looking for a statement. We're looking for people to stand up and say, racism is real. It is specific. It is institutionalized and systemic, and it's wrong, period. Because if anybody dances around that basic premise, there's going to be some challenges. And thereafter, we're listening for, what are you doing about it where you are? This is the consummate Samara Judea, kind of the, you now are going to impact, influence your specific circle, and then you kind of migrate from there. The question is, what can I do? What can I do? The real question is, well, where are you? Bloom where you are planted. What can you do? Where is your direct influence? And so that's what we're looking and listening for. So the truth is, yes, this should happen, but let's be clear what it means to put out a statement. It means the work and the thinking and the listening need to happen underneath. So I want people putting statements out, but I don't want statements that are copy and pasted from other places. I don't want statements that sound good to get everybody comfortable so that Black people still buy from us. I want statements that are rooted in real action and the truth. And even if that truth is painful, even if that truth is that it doesn't look good right now, we want to hear and know that there is an action and a commitment to fix it and to make it right. And again, as consumers and buyers, we need to keep paying attention, because at the point we don't see and hear the statements, and even more importantly, when we don't see or hear the actions beside and beyond said statements, we need to exercise our economic power in what we do. And that's where I stand on that.
And as you notice, I have my pen because I'm sitting here writing what she's saying, because I'm like, okay, my company, Martin Business Solution, my tax company, my business service company, I have not released my official statement. And to your point, when you said, send it out saying, hey, I'm still trying to figure this out. Because for me, if I was a white person, if I was a full-blooded white person, put it like that, if I was a full-blooded white person, because my great-grandmother was white on my grandfather's side. So, so anyway, but if I was a full-blooded white person, I think who I am, I would put out a statement. I probably would have put out a statement the first day, like, hey, Black Lives Matter, this is not right, blah, blah, blah. I could have just did the whole little spiel because it would have been genuine. But as a Black female in business, now it's like, okay, everybody knows I'm Black. I don't want to come off as the angry Black woman, but then I don't want to make my Black customers mad, like I'm not taking a stand because I'm scared.
Right.
So, that balance, I hadn't, so I'm working on it.
Yeah, let me say this, because admittedly, I personally have not put out a public statement. What I've done is, I have kind of two sides. There's the kind of public social media, and then there's the private, like my email list, right? The people that I communicate with most. And so there's certainly been more communication on that end. And I've been honest, like, wow, I'm still unpacking this, because I, even though I'm a Black woman, still do have some responsibility in this. And let me be clear, the onus is not so much on us to say something relative to, yeah, Black Lives Matter. I hope we all know that Black Lives Matter, okay? I hope being Black, you believe that, although we can't assume, but you hope it's true. What I mean from a statement is it's different. It's different for Blacks and for whites. For Blacks, it's the side of, here is what I'm committed to relative to what this is, and here is my stance on those companies that do or don't kind of agree in this way. And I have to say, again, it is a slippery slope. I want to be really clear. This is not an easy thing to do. And there absolutely could be repercussions. I'd be lying if I said there wasn't. But I also know that freedom never comes at no cost. Freedom comes at a cost. And although we've had civil rights, obviously even before then, we had the idea of being able to make sure that slavery was abolished, which kind of didn't happen all at once, but we know. We had the issue, of course, of getting voter rights. We then had to get the issue of being able to own property and actually getting right to own property and all of the other pieces. Our kind of freedom fight is now the fight to have a voice to say what's right and wrong relative to racism. That's ours, okay? That's our era, and we cannot sit down. We can, because we can be very comfortable, because even in this oppressive environment, there is a little bit of safety that we can hide between and underneath. We cannot allow that, though, to usurp this. And the truth is, we may not feel the effects in our lifetimes. This is for our kids, our grandkids, great-great-grandkids. This is the fight that we have to take up. And if we avoid picking up that baton, then we will fail our generations after us. Every generation has a fight to fight, and this is ours.
Right, and true. And I know my daughter and some of her friends, my daughter's in her 20s, and I know some of her friends, they sent me a list of all the places I'm supposed to shop and not shop. I'm like, who had, but I thought about it, yeah, they got time on their hand, they got social media. So yeah, I mean, they sent me this list and I was like, oh, I can't eat there. And they was like, no. And I said, well, I got a gift card. They were like, well, use your gift card and don't go there anymore. And I was like, oh, okay.
That generation is on it. They're not going to let us, like, I'm with you. Like, yeah. I'm like, dang, are we doing Starbucks? No, I'm like, I'm having to make my own coffee because I can't decide. Okay. I'm like, right. Oh. But right. I'm not giving in, like, what are we
doing? These teenagers and young adults, they are not playing. They're different breed of people. And we can't hush them up. I mean, they already were in their they said they went through that entitlement stage. And so now they're going through that, that radicalness of being entitled. That's right. We created the monster, the freedom of speech and all this. And they are readers, they go and read these amendments and they say, well, it says here in section 1.32. Yep. And I'm like, okay, so yeah. So not only are they reading, they're advocating. And so they're sending me the list. I went somewhere and they were like, you can't go there anymore. I'm like, what? So we're learning. And so I want to be able to embrace it from a personal standpoint as well as business, but most of all, ultimately through the eyes of God. And so, just taking the direction that he has given, and God hasn't always been the peacemaker, he comes to upset things. So, hey, to uncover and let it be brought to the light. So
no doubt. No doubt. And again, I want to say this one thing, Candy. I do believe it is important to let another person read through it. I'm not talking about that mad post. Like, make sure you're mind. You know what I'm saying? The angry post. We're going through a whole slew of emotions right now. So let me curb the other side of it. I've been doing more editing, reading, helping people make sure that they're getting the real key points put out. You get what I'm saying? Versus just it being emotional verbal vomit. You understand what I'm saying? So there is a way to do this. And I do believe we need to be strategic all around. This is not about, and to your point, I am not jumping into the hatred message. This still needs to be love, care, and concern, because we all need healing. Different things, but we all need healing. And if we're not representing that, then we definitely, we should certainly kind of allow ourselves to be healed first before we put anything out. So I'm gonna get off my soapbox now.
Well, I really appreciate that. And I appreciate you ladies. I know we've extended the time, but that's okay. I want to get through all the slides. If you have to leave, that's fine. Just exit out. You can go back and watch the replay and get the full version of it on our YouTube channel as well as on our website under the AK Legacy Foundation. Desiree, back to you, Desiree Morrison. Keep forgetting it's National Desiree Day, so I got to use last name. That's all right. Desiree Morrison, COVID-19 and finances. We have millions of people out of work. Some are getting stimulus unemployment, some are not, because they don't even know how to fill it out. Some have been fired, laid off, furloughed, don't know. We even have some people got the stimulus check, the $1,200, some have not. I've gotten, let's say half of my clients got it, half of them didn't, but everybody's entitled to it. Some of the stimulus money got mailed to the wrong address. Some of the stimulus money is still pending. Some of us have gotten it and spent it. Some of us got the money and put it in a savings. Some of us didn't get the right amount. It's just, I could just go on and on and on about it. Some of us got money that was sent to dead people. Um, I had a client whose husband, he died maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, and she got 2,400. Well, she should have only gotten 12 because the other 12 were for her husband. Well, shoot, she spent that money. So, her house note was due. She said it was for her husband, and the house is still in his name, and so she paid the house note with it. So she said if they ever come back to it, they have to pick it up with the mortgage company. So we have all those financial woes, but then we have the other side. People are embracing technology, so entrepreneurs are, if they're in the right position, they're booming right now. People are shopping more online. Whoever owns Amazon is a happy person right now. So everybody is not in a financial woe. Some of us are using the money wisely, some of us are not. So give us your spin on COVID-19 and finances right now.
Well, I could tell you what I experienced during this time of pandemic. I used to be the type of person that when some type of trauma or tragedy hit my community or my city, and I was directly or indirectly affected, and Red Cross came out or FEMA came out, or they started with the food distribution sites, and I was the first person in line. Trust me. I was the first person in line. I'm going to get all the help, all the give outs, all the giveaways, baby. We going to get everything they got. I'm serious. And I would get everything that I could, even if it didn't matter. I would travel. If I had to go to the Plaza, if I had to go to Baton Rouge, I'm going to get whatever they're giving. If I could get that, if I got gas, baby, we're going to get all of it. But I would come back to my community and I would share with the people that couldn't get out, that couldn't get away, that couldn't go get it for themselves. And what I noticed this time in Candy, I was like, Lord, I want to go. I want to go to New Orleans. I want to go to St. Charles Parish. I want to go to St. John Parish. Lord, I want to go to Baton Rouge. They're giving away, second harvest is at the Zephyr's Field. No, I don't want you involved in that. You don't need that. So your motive for going wouldn't be right. Your motive for going would be out of greed, not to just go get it because you need it, number one, and to help other people. Even though I would help other people, but the Lord was showing me you don't need to be involved in that because I've already taken care of you in that aspect. And Candy, for many, many years, that was not my story. That was not my situation at all. I'm telling you, during this time of pandemic, I'm gonna give you a very vivid, recent situation. My vehicle, I bought that vehicle in 2018. Almost a month ago now, I was riding down the street. I thought I saw smoke coming out the engine from under the hood. But I said, well, maybe that was the car next to me. So I continued to drive, got to a red light, and I really started seeing smoke coming from under my hood. And I'm like, what the what? Lord. So I wasn't far from my mechanic shop, brought it over to him. He said he couldn't get to it because it was a Friday. People doing Friday, getting ready to get out of there. They ain't got no time to be looking at your car. So he told me he was going to get with me Monday. Monday came. The guy called me. He told me, he said, your car was running so hot till underneath the engine where your oil pan is, all of that melted. I can't even assess what's going on with your car till I fix that. And for everything that he needed to replace and to put back together, Candy, that bill right there was $953. That right there, okay? Now, 4 days later, after he's fixed that, he comes back and tell me, oh, we assessed the problem. You have a cracked head in your engine. I'm like, what? Yes. Well, how much that's gonna be? You need a new engine. It's not like we can, just go in there and fix the crack. No, you need a new engine. How much that could be? $3,500. And that's 35 on top of the 953, right? And then about 2 or 3 days later, after you've done that, oh, you find out some other stuff that's going on. You're gonna need a water pump. You're gonna need a whole lot of stuff. To make this long story short, my bill, tax, title, and license was $5,672, Candy. Okay? During this time of pandemic. And for the first time in my 54 years of living, that $5,607 was like I paid $20. I'm telling you, because of putting systems in place. What a lot of people don't realize is if you do nails, that's a job, that's a business. You wash cars, that's a business. You do eyelashes, eyebrows, that's a business. You do hair, that's a business. When they were talking about the businesses coming back or opening back up for the economy, the government set certain things in place for people who had a what? Business, not for the people who had jobs. So if you have a business, or even if you don't have a business, but you're operating as a business, but you're not, legally a business, you need to make it a business. What I did that I didn't realize that I could do, but I took Candy's advice, was the SBA and what they were doing for small businesses. And people like me, I'm in two facets. One facet is I'm registered with the state, so I have an EIN number. But then on the other side, with some of the other companies I'm with, I'm an independent contractor, so I receive 1099s, right? So I went on both sides. And I was able to get the money that the SBA was giving for people that drive for Uber, people that drive for DoorDash, people that have online businesses like my beauty supply, people that's in the travel business. That was the 1099 side. But the Morrison Travel Station, which is registered with the state, that business got more money from the SBA than the 1099 did. You see what I'm saying? So what a lot of people don't realize, you've been missing out on your money. You have a business, but you're not operating it as a business. If you operate whatever it is you're doing, I don't care if you sell t-shirts, if you do tattoos, that's a business. When you operate your business like a business, it's going to pay you like a business. And when things come up like pandemics, because we're going to go through some other stuff, they got some other stuff getting ready to come down the pike. And the law will set you up to the point where a situation comes along that is supposed to knock you off your feet and land you on your back, you will be able to stand up on your feet and jump over hula hoops. If you take the time to put systems in place that's going to allow you to not always trade hours for dollars, the law will set you up so that you'll have a cushion and it will feel like you're walking on marshmallows instead of brass nails.
That's right. Amen. Amen. And I'm glad you mentioned that. I teach a course called Am I Legit? And basically we go through the business. I do my little checklist and I have my little red pen out and I'll let you know where you missed the mark. And so that is so true. If you're set up properly, then you'll get the proper covering that you need. And so this is not an indictment or a condemnation to anyone that's not properly set up. We're here to help. Through our foundation, the AK Legacy, we can teach you some business development, some financial literacy. There are some things that you can take advantage of in our businesses. Those of us that have business services that we offer, there are services that you can enroll in that come at a cost, but there are some things that you can put in place that you're going to spend a little money now that'll set you up for a bigger return later. It's an investment in yourself. It's your business. Invest in it like such. Invest in it with time and sometimes as well as with money. All right. This is some good information, ladies. I really appreciate you guys. I'll take one question and then we'll wrap it up. This is the last slide. We'll take one question from the chat or let's see. If you have a question, put it in the chat for me so that I can, and I don't want to unmute the line because sometimes there's a lot of background noise. And what happens is when we do the recording or when we play it back, it's really distracting. So this is your golden opportunity to ask ask one question to any one of these ladies. The first question that comes across, I will take that question. I'm going to go back through the chat. Okay, Desiree, you did put your contact information in already. Okay. Desiree Morrison and Desiree Jung, make sure your information is in. Should business put out a written statement? Okay, here's a question for Desiree Jung. Should a business put out a written statement on social media or website or email?
Sure thing. So love this question because it may depend. The truth is, you really do want to take stock around what it is that you're trying to say. You guys have seen all of these statements that have come across already. Sometimes people are trying to really challenge groups, industries that they're connected to take action. Okay, especially if you are an influencer or you belong to a particular industry. I saw there's one gentleman, he does a lot of healthcare and healthcare consulting, and he in a very poised way, pretty much from a social media, very public way, came through and said, first off, here's why I'm the person to bring this up. He's like, we are underrepresented. He's a Black gentleman. Here is what needs to happen. Here is what I'm challenging you all to do. Totally made sense. The other side of it is when you were talking more about your platform, meaning what it is that you believe, what it is that you are committed to. And so I do believe when it comes to the public piece, think about what your goals are, because you may want to just keep it about yourself as far as this is who I am. This is what I'm committed to. This is what I believe in. When it comes to being able to talk more about specifically what groups should do, then I do recommend perhaps you make that a private message. You're sending it to particular people. You're sending it to particular groups. You can, of course, still make it a public message, but just recognize what can come beside that. As I mentioned earlier, this is not all going to just necessarily be nice and safe and comfortable. There will be repercussions, and we have to kind of be ready around that. My biggest thing is think about all of those pieces before going off on rants, but certainly think about a public message and a private message if they should be the same, and even if there's a need for both.
Okay, thank you, thank you. And Desiree, tell Desiree Morrison, tell us how to get your book.
It's two ways to get it. If you go on Amazon, I'm not gonna be able to sign it unless we see each other. If you want it from me, then of course you get a personal autograph copy.
And so we get it from you by going to DesireeMorrison.com.
Yeah, and just letting me know, because you can leave your contact information and you can leave me a message and let me know that you're interested in the book. And I will personally send you the book once you leave your information there, and it will be a personalized copy with a one of my favorite scriptures that got me through a lot of those hard times that I experienced when I was incarcerated.
All right, thank you. So as we get ready to wrap up, I want to invite everyone back on next Wednesday. Our podcast airs every Wednesday at 11 a.m. I don't think I'm going to put an ending time on the next one because we have clearly gone over that, which is fine. And I really appreciate you guys sticking on, because a lot of people will watch the replay because 11 o'clock is their work schedule, including my yard guy that's outside weed eating outside my window. But hey, this what happens during the time of pandemic. Stay home. I'm staying home, okay? So anyway, I'll just speak up. How about that? On next Wednesday at 11 o'clock, we're going to have Miss Kitty Arsenault. She's going to tell us about writing a book for our business. So yay, I'm creating a book for our business about our products and services. So I'm looking forward to that. And we're going to also have Mr. Orhan Macmillan. He is a joy to be around. He's going to be kind of real. He's not going to soften it up. The marshmallows are off the table. Desiree Jung knows him. The marshmallows are off the table. He's going to give it to us real. And because he's so passionate about us getting it right. And so he's going to come and talk to us about marketing for small business in the time of a global pandemic, which is what we all need to know. Like we learned earlier, sales and marketing are two different things. And you don't want to be marketing to the wrong market. That you're going to be spinning your wheels for nothing. So he's going to come and give us some insight. So we're going to have some discussion. He's also doing some community service work that I'm aware of in regards to the social injustice. Miss Kitty Arsenault, she has a passion for youth. And so we're going to just and she also serves on the board at the AK Legacy Foundation. So I definitely want to hear from her and why we need to write a book, how to write a book. And so it's going to be very, very informative. I invite you guys to come back, share it. If you're not able to tune in live, please watch the replay. All right. And so if you're out there in the listening world and you are an expert in something, if you're good at doing hair, or if you're a dental assistant, whatever your area of expertise is, and you would like to come on our podcast, send me an email, go on our website. You can register right there on the website to be a panelist when you go on to the aklegacyfoundation.org. From there, you'll see the tab that says, are you an expert? Would you like to be a panel? You click it, answer the question, submit it, and we will get you on. Our schedule right now is open from the last of July through, we're doing all the way through September right now. So get your information to us. We would love to have you on, different views. Doesn't matter your race, your color, your creed, whether you believe in God, you don't, we believe in God, that's our view. If you don't, that's fine. You're still welcome on the podcast. We are all about healthy discussions in regards to business, financial literacy. And so in those two things, we know that doing business sometimes is personal, and we know that financial literacy means sometimes we have the money and we don't know how to use it, or we need the money and don't know how to get it. So those are our goals here at the AK Legacy Foundation. How does your products and services and everything ties back to that? I don't care if you're a hairdresser or if you own a Fortune 500 company. There is something that you can share with our community, and there's something that we can share with you. So come on, be a guest on our show. We would love to have you. And so let me tell you a little bit about me. My daughter said, Mama, you never say anything about yourself. I'm like, well, it's not about me. So, okay. She twisted my arm, and so here we go. And I put up one of my favorite pictures. I thought I was really cute on that one. And as you can see, my hair is different. So to Desiree's point, I probably need my own online. I'm probably going to have to enroll in my own beauty store. I'm probably gonna need it. But anyway, another story. I'm a Christian. I love God. I'm God-fearing. I'm a ministry volunteer. I'm that person that if you can't get somebody else to do it, just call me out. I'll probably be there to help out. I'm a wife. I love my sweet husband. This is in a couple of months, we'll be celebrating 13 years. It takes a special man to stick around me with me and all my 100 ideas, Every week I got something new I want to do. I'm a mom, and my mom is on here today. So yay, her mom. Yay, my number one fan. She's been my fan since day one, literally. My number one fan since day one. And my daughter, I have a daughter and a son, and I'm a Gigi, y'all. I got the sweetest grandbaby. I know y'all think y'all grandbaby, all of that, but I got the sweetest grandbaby. All right. And so I'm an author, a philanthropist. I believe in educating my community. I believe in education. I believe if you can make an educated decision, it'll be a better decision. And I'm a financial educator and I'm a business strategist. That's a little bit about me. You can follow my business page, Martin Business Solution, on YouTube. You can follow, not on YouTube, I'm sorry. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and go to my website, martinbusinesssolution.com. On YouTube, it's the AK Legacy Foundation, because all of the, everything is being pulled there for our foundation. And let's see if I have anything else, or that was it. All right, yep, that was it. So I want to conclude this podcast on today. Don't forget, there's the website. Go to the website, guys. So I want to conclude our podcast for today, Ask the Experts, on July 1st, 2020. We will look back at this in the archives and we're going to be tickled and laugh because we're going to take this information that we have learned on today and we're going to apply it. We're not going to just hear it, but we're going to apply it, implement it, and we're going to reach out to these experts and we're going to take our businesses to the next level. And if we don't have a business, now we're thinking about one. And so we're going to lean on these young ladies and we thank them for sharing their testimony. We thank them for their business expertise and giving us some tips, some nuggets, and some tools, and for being courageous. And I got some witnesses on here. You guys coming back? Okay, great. All right, so I have you guys back. You know, maybe September-ish, somewhere around up in there, I'll get you guys back when the season.
I should be back in town sometime in September, so we can.
You gonna look. She's gonna be on one of these podcasts when this all opened up. She's gonna be in Hawaii somewhere and have her legs crossed, looking at the waves. We're gonna find you. Yes.
Well, I can be at those locations and still find time to come on. So no big deal. As long as I have Wi-Fi and a cell phone, I'm good.
Don't do it to us. Don't do it to us. Desiree, any final word? Desiree Jung, any final word from you? You good? You good?
Oh, great. This has been awesome. Thank you so much. And Desiree, I can't wait to get a hold of this book. I want that special copy though. So
I got you.
bye soon.
I got you.
That concludes our session for today. And Mom, I love you too. I saw your chat. I love you too. I'm proud of you too, Mom. All right. Love you guys.
Bye. Thank you. Bye. Oh.